Welcome to Oh Brother, a podcast of three brothers trying to figure it all out, with your hosts Brandon, Collin, and Aaron. On this week's show, coffee socks.
Over the internet.
Hello.
Hello.
What's up? Ooh.
What is up?
There are coffee grounds in my coffee. Oh no. Oh no.
So,
You did what?
There are coffee grounds in my coffee. Oh no.
Oh.
he has French pressed incorrectly.
I have. The water was a little bit high, so I had to kind of angle the filter as it was getting on before, so it didn't just sploosh all over. And I think
Not the
some
sploosh.
escapade.
Uh-oh. Sadness.
Sad. Oh well.
On that note, we have procured some like reusable cloth coffee filters, apparently.
Really?
Oh.
That is, yes. We got some of those in a Thrive thing, right? Hashtag not sponsored. But they were like on sale or whatever. And so Susan was like, well, we'll just check them out. It has the disturbing name of coffee sock, which I don't know if I'm 100% behind that particular branding. I think we could have done better. I think we could have done better than coffee sock.
Coffee sock.
Can we?
I mean, it mostly... The problem with that name is I have watched far too much like Survivor Man and like Bear Grylls and stuff like that.
Sure.
So like I've seen Bear Grylls literally like take mud or like elephant poop and put it in his sock and like wring it out and then drink it. So you're like, yeah, not a wonderful name.
I don't know. Just that's a reminder that it's exotic and fun.
It is interesting, right? It goes with one of the bywords on there. This is what kind of brings me back to the last week. You talked about the ritual of the coffee, right? That's on the box. It says that, right? Because you have to like rinse it out and bring it out and just like set it back on the thing. And then every couple of weeks you're supposed to just boil it.
So that was my question: is how do you wash it?
So you're just supposed to. It says boil it for like 10 minutes. So I did that yesterday because you're supposed to do it before you use it.
Sure.
Right. So you do that once. You're supposed to boil it, and then it says you can boil it twice if it's like real, like oily with the ground oil. You can boil it, then change the water and boil it again. But you're supposed to boil it. We got two of them. You can switch them out. So it's gonna be interesting. I'm curious as to whether like, because I used it this morning, and the coffee this morning tasted pretty good. I couldn't tell if that was because I made a particularly good pot of coffee this morning, or if it was the filter. So not enough data, right, to answer this question. Insufficient data. That's the word I was looking for. To see if it's any good. But I'm curious as to whether like it just continue, because you're only supposed to rinse it between. So if it's like going to develop its own flavor.
Ooh,
right?
like a cast iron skillet.
Exactly. Right. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Because like I used it today. All I did was I followed directions. I just dumped out the grounds in the coffee into the trash can, and then I just rinsed it with cold water. And then just set it to dry.
It's not much of a filter if you just dump it back into the coffee.
Yeah, no. But again, like I said, I couldn't really tell. I got up early this morning, so I couldn't tell. I just measure with a spoon, right? And so some days it just gets more in there than other days. Some
Sure.
days it's less. So I don't know if it was just a particularly, if I got like extra in there or
Yeah.
not. Couldn't tell. So tomorrow, the rest of this week will be the test. See how it goes. I'm interested
is very
for
exciting.
Susan to try it and see what she thinks.
Got some brand new coffee technologies going on here.
Right?
All good
Yeah.
stuff.
So it'll be interesting. You heard me through the door. She said, "Don't diss it." I could hear you.
We're not dissing it though.
Yeah, I'm just saying she should listen all the way and open the door so she could hear the rest.
Oh man.
There we go. So yeah, that's going to be that's the new. It's a big highlight of my week, really.
I'm excited for you.
New and interesting reusable coffee filter.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense because I drink a lot of coffee, as we discussed, and having the filter, right? You go through lots of those.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Don't know. But at least there were no grounds in my coffee this morning. Ha.
Oh no! See, I have I failed.
You did it. So other than that exciting development, what else have you guys been up to?
Oh yeah, Aaron, what about you?
Give me a second. I'm eating a bratwurst. I'm out.
Oh my gosh!
Oh
my gosh!
There we go. Aaron cooked a bratwurst.
Okay.
Well, Aaron found a brat. I don't know.
Found
if
a bratwurst. Cooked or uncooked?
Did Shelby cook it? Was it the birds? Did the birds bring it to you?
Yeah. Since we have our new.
Have they begun feeding you?
Yeah, that's what.
It's been reversed since we have a new nest full of birds now. No, we last week we kind of were able to go out and from quarantine, and we actually had Mediterranean. Well, it was Mediterranean style, but the people were Lebanese restaurant down in Tulsa, and had a falafel. I think it was honestly like my first falafel that I ever had, but I was like,
really?
yo, this is bomb.
Yeah,
and
right?
I was sitting there, and they had from last podcast Turkish coffee on the menu.
Oh,
like,
did you get some? Compare?
I did.
And
they're like, well, you didn't, it felt awkward because I was like, it's 2:00 in the afternoon. I don't exactly expect coffee to be the thing to order.
No, that's wrong. It's the thing. Always.
They did not put sugar in it, which is sugar is optional.
Unless you're Aaron, it is not optional.
No, it must have sugar. It came in this uber super tiny, like a lot smaller than I anticipated cup.
Yes,
and
that's the traditional cup that you need to get.
Find an image for you, because I took a picture. I was like, "Look how cute it is!" For research, obviously,
definitely.
And we did that. We kind of played around a little bit in town, and then I thought I put something next to it to actually show the size of said coffee.
Oh, no banana for scale.
It was basically like a shot of coffee.
It's similar to an espresso size cup.
Yes. That is the word that a lot of people on YouTube kind of described it as. So, espresso, like small, like about that size, but just different. I'm like, ooh, okay.
Yeah.
And so they brought that out there. Didn't exactly pair well with the falafel, but
what? No.
Other than that, it was actually like really good. It was incredibly strong.
What? Oh, yes.
But I was, thrilled to actually try like legit,
Well, now you have something to shoot for, right?
Yeah, and I can't mimic it very well because I get impatient. I'm like, no, I want my coffee now. But they're like, no, it takes a long time to make.
It takes literally forever, but it's fine.
But I want my coffee now.
Fine.
And so it's very. I enjoyed it. I was very thrilled and giddy with excitement with trying it. So I was not disappointed. It was a lot different than I anticipated, but it was kind of good. I wish they put creamer in it, or not creamer, sugar. But again, it's optional, allegedly. So, but no, it was actually pretty good. And then we, scootled around town, and then got back late, and then it just downpoured rain on us the entire time. So,
yeah, I saw that it was supposed to rain a lot down there today.
Yeah, and so it's been off and on this entire week. Weirdly, but other than that, it's been it was really, it's been, I don't want to jinx anything, but it's been a really chill kind of week.
Don't do that. Don't say that out loud. Where's the knock on? Can you hear that? There you go. Knocking on wood.
What else we did? But yeah, that's kind of been the.
So
the
I want to know. I want to know your thoughts on the falafel. I want to know what you thought about it. What kind did you get?
What are the options?
Well, because the falafel is like the little breaded ball thing that's in there. And you can get like other stuff on it too.
So it was basically like they basically put it like in a giant burrito. I don't know if that's how it usually comes.
Yeah, it's either in like some kind of pita flatbread-ish thing. Or
yeah, so it was basically like rolled in a giant
like a giant flatbread
burrito, and it had like the falafel themselves were like the veggie kind that were there. They kind of looked like meatballs, basically.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
And they had like the other greens in there as well. It was basically like a falafel sandwich, but they rolled it up. And so I was, super excited because I was like, well, I don't really know. I've never had them before, and I don't know what I'm gonna, if this is gonna like this or whatever. But I was extremely happy. And the only downside is that it, the restaurant's like an hour away from where we live.
Yeah, but
and so that's the the downside of it. And it's like, well,
the last place I had falafel was Sydney Harbor. So
hey,
you're doing better than me, right? That's why.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what.
But you can also they also sometimes put the meat. They can put meat in there too, like not in the ball thing, but like just next to it, like with it.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if you got just a straight one or if you got the like one with like the other stuff in there.
It had the other stuff. It wasn't meat. It was kind of like a veggie.
Okay, that's like the traditional one without, because it's the falafel thing, and then they put the greens and stuff in there.
Yeah,
and so that's a good one. I like that one.
It was really good. And then Shelby, what did you have?
What?
At the Mediterranean restaurant? Do you remember?
I had kebab.
She had the
rice.
Kebab, rice, and hummus.
Oh, nice.
Which was dope. And oh no, I got it. Thank you. And so it was.
It's an adorable cup, by the way, in the picture.
It is.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was.
Cute.
It was. The roll. They came out, and I was like, "Oh, this is not a bad cup." But it was. It was really strong. I thought. I was like, "Oh, I could drink this quickly. I know what this is like." No, it wasn't. Yeah, no, I didn't know that. And so just kind of sipped away at it, but it was very good. It was, like I said, it was a lot stronger than I anticipated. But no, that's definitely kind of the thing everyone was kind of said, or anything online that I read, and it's like, well, most people just drink this straight. So if you don't want to, definitely put sugar in it. And I was like, oh, I'm sure it's not. It's one of those things where you look at it, it's like, I bet I know what that tastes like. Not even close to what I was, thinking it was going to be. But with that being said, it was very good. I would definitely order it again. I would definitely go back to that restaurant again. It was, it was literally a hole in the wall.
You remember what it was called, so we can tell the people? That's a no. Okay. Well,
I can look it up real quick. But no, it was next to this soccer shop in Tulsa.
Sweet. While you're looking that up, I would just like to publicly once again say this is 2 weeks in a row. Exceptionally proud of Aaron for trying new things. This is groundbreaking. Really, I'm very excited about this.
I typed in fantastic Mediterranean restaurant, and the first two things popped up are Mazzio's Italian Eatery and Papa John's. Like
that's false. Italy technically is in the Mediterranean, but I don't think.
Hold on. I'd be specific. It's called Shawkats Mediterranean Restaurant. SHAWKAT. Shawkats Mediterranean Restaurant.
Interesting.
Like I said, really good. It's like literally a hole in the wall. But it was, very, very good.
Fine.
Hole in the wall. But yeah, then we just kind of, played around Tulsa for a little bit, drove around, and then we, drove home and called it a day. And then it like immediately, thunderstormed on us. So we had a
boom, made it.
Face that. But other than that, I mean, that's all that we've been, this last weekend. This week has kind of been, work oriented. Had a meeting yesterday that was definitely one of the things like, this could very been easily an email, because we have, our administrators, and then we have, people from the state that are, state psychologists, and like, we're going to try this new program where we're going to roll out and everyone's going to be thrilled. And to be completely honest, I was not paying attention. I was on mute the whole time, and it was like an hour-long meeting. And I find out, hours later, it definitely did not pertain to my position. It's like, well, then why did I have to be there?
Well, it's good to know what's going on, right? Oftentimes, they do all that kind of stuff and then, like, just conveniently forget to tell you that these things happened. So it's better that you listen to it and we're slightly bored than we're like, wait, what? What are you talking about? What are we doing?
Yeah. Next week, them come out and be like, well, this, we're all doing this.
Whoa,
Thank you.
Where did that come from? Right. So that's good.
Yeah. So other than that, that's all we've been doing as far as work, and this week wise, at least.
I've been very curious about your work this week, actually. I was pondering about, since the big changes in the Oklahoma territory, how that affects your job as a state employee in that particular territory. Yeah, or if at all, or if it's just the same thing.
So,
or do they not know yet? They probably don't know yet, because it's literally just happened.
Some of the people that I talked to, and just kind of guessing, it doesn't really change my job as much with any investigation that has to deal with any of the tribe. Or any of the tribes. I have to notify them, and then some tribes actually go out on investigations with me.
But I didn't know, since it's now a lot of it, there's a lot more that's like officially tribal land area.
Yes.
But if you're doing an investigation on not a tribal member, does it still not matter? These are questions that I had.
So it only matters if the individual is affiliated with a Native American tribe, and if it the tribe kind of does its own thing. Normally, before kind of all of this, if something happened,
call them up, say, hey.
Let's say, we had to take, do something involving with child safety, and, notify the tribe, like, hey, look, tribal individual, this happened. Sometimes they're like, no, it's fine. You guys take care of it. Sometimes that tribe in question will be like, hey, actually, we, since you're doing this, we would actually appreciate if we ran through our courts.
Yeah.
Now I believe that since, granted, if it was, a house on, let's, take the Osage Nation in general. There's some places in the town of Pawhuska where some streets, all the houses on that block are tribal affiliated or are on federal land. Yeah. And so I have no jurisdiction over there whatsoever. So if there was something that happened on restricted land, then it would automatically go to the tribal court. or the federal court.
Okay.
But if it was like a block away that was on state land
Then
with the tribal official or tribal member, but the tribe didn't want to pursue legal action or something, it would still go to the state.
Yeah.
But now, I think that line is right on county line where they got that picture that I sent you guys.
Yeah.
That had the tribal lands or whatever. I think that since if it happened on one of those, if it was a Native American official or affiliate on Native American land, then it would automatically go to that. But as far as my job goes, I think I still do the same. I still notify the tribe unless they tell me otherwise. But I think I say the same unless it's on federal restricted land. But that happens once in a blue moon, basically.
Okay. I was just curious because that's a big shift in the boundaries, I guess. But I mean, it does make sense that if as long as it's not like if you're doing an investigation on somebody who is not a member of any tribe, then it would just be
normal. Nothing like that changes. I think the main kind of big thing is if it mostly pertains to like criminal instances, criminal issues.
Good point. Yeah,
the actual prosecution of it.
Well, and like other crimes.
Yes,
like that the police would investigate and stuff like that too.
As far as child welfare goes, I think it pretty much stays the same. I haven't received an email stating.
Yeah, I mean, for now, until they're still, like I said, they're probably still trying to figure some of that stuff out because it literally just happened. But
yeah, because a lot of people that I've talked to, and as far as my administration goes, they're like, we didn't even know this was happening. And I'm like, oh, cool, okay. So that kind of says the kind of heads up that we got from it.
Well, yeah,
but I think mostly nothing really changes until something happens on restricted land with the tribal workers. But that's a whole different ball game that I don't ever deal with, so I can't really tell much.
Well, that's fair. Sweet. I was just curious, like I said. So
I'm also equally curious because again, I have no idea what they're gonna do. So it's all a mystery to me too.
Oh yeah, mysteries.
Yeah, so that's usually kind of things that happens. It's like, well, hey, this is happening. Like, oh, does anyone know what's going on? Nope. Oh, okay. Well, I will wait for your direction and your guidance, and that happens a lot of times in the state. So it is.
Yeah.
It is also a waiting game. So yay.
Well, cool. There you go.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I guess we should probably explain exactly what that court decision was.
Oh, that's fair. That's true.
Yeah. I don't know what.
Sorry to be vague. I forgot.
No, that's fine.
Did you have it pulled up, Collin? Because I don't know the actual what it's the whole.
Yeah, no. It was basically that, as you guys are saying there, that the Supreme Court ruled recently that half of Oklahoma is within
the eastern half.
Oklahoma. Yeah, eastern half is Native American. Is it considered to be within a Native American reservation? Basically, meaning that how criminal and civil cases, both past and future, are going to be handled. Because as you mentioned, that now there is this tribal element and how it gets taken into account in the court system.
Yeah, and especially because some of it wasn't necessarily a tribal before, because the whole basically eastern part is subdivided up into various different regions based on tribal affiliation. Is that about correct? Right.
Yes.
So just kind of seeing that new demographic. And what kind of stuff has to change just in handling of all these things is pretty dramatic, right? So like, how do you do it? How does it work? Just, I don't know. It's a mystery. So I was just very intrigued by that.
It effectively elevates the sovereignty of the Native American nations.
Yes,
within those territorial boundaries, it elevates them a little bit, gives them a little more prominence in the court of law.
Yeah, which is good because they need representation and the ability to do that stuff, and so that's Again, I haven't read up too much on it, so I don't want to speak too much because I'm very ignorant in this matter currently. So, but I was just very intrigued by that. It's kind of how they're going to handle it and stuff. So I just thought it was interesting.
The big thing, and I think, someone who actually has pulled up, I think it originated from the Choctaw Nation and a criminal case that they were kind of having to handle.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it really kind of kicked off a few months ago. Might have been last year. I can't remember. The governor of Oklahoma basically was like, well, the Native American tribes aren't paying, but there's a certain percentage that they make from casinos and stuff that goes back to the state, and there's a whole big hubbub that Native American tribes weren't paying, quote unquote, enough. And a lot of the tribes were like, no, we're paying a pretty good amount. And so I think a lot of it still stems from that and kind of that whole big ordeal. And I think then this kind of just, kicked over and laid over in general.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, they're saying that Aaron, the court case was McGirt versus Oklahoma, where he was part of the Seminole Nation. On the Creek Reservation.
Okay.
He was convicted for crimes on Creek land, but he was tried by the state, and he argued that the state did not have jurisdiction, so he had to be charged in federal.
Yeah, that's what this is saying here.
Yeah, and they agreed with him. So basically, major crimes committed within any boundaries of reservations they have to be prosecuted in federal court
level
if a Native American is involved.
Yeah.
So that's because of certain past treaties and how they were, because the treaty is with the federal government, not with the state.
Yes.
Like that's what they're saying here. And so it keeps that relationship between the nation and the government going back and forth instead of to the state. Because those treaties again weren't made when Oklahoma was a state there, or at least
they weren't before Oklahoma was a state.
Yeah, really, exactly.
Yeah,
they weren't between the Native American nations and the state. They were with the Native American nations and the federal government. So anyway, but what this means is that they're going to have to go and dig into all of the past convictions between a Native American and the state, because now those technically were wrongfully tried.
Yeah.
And so there's going to does the statute of no, I guess because it's no, I'm thinking about something else. So no, that's right. Yeah, they'll go back
because the ruling was made under pretenses that the law has changed now. So
so these are considered wrongful convictions because the state actually did not have the jurisdiction that they thought they did.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Whoa.
So and this also says that Arizona, New Mexico, and Montana also have large areas that function in this manner.
Yeah, so this is kind of getting caught up with
some
the
other
rest
areas.
Yeah. So there was a precedence for this.
Yeah, I mean it's good too because I think that when people think about Native American areas, I think they predominantly think about Arizona, New Mexico, Montana. I think we forget about Oklahoma a lot. Maybe not us because it's literally like right here. Definitely not Aaron.
Hello.
Right. But like, I think a lot of other people kind of forget about Oklahoma because it's, mostly we think about like Arizona, Montana, Wyoming, like these places, not necessarily Oklahoma. And it's weird, very odd history of all this stuff. So like,
oh yeah.
It's very bizarre. No expert in that either, but the little that I do know is like, wait, what?
Yeah, the biggest thing that happens a lot is, especially when talking and dealing with the tribes, particularly the Osage, is a lot of times people kind of feel that, Native Americans still think that, when you think of Native Americans, people think like, well, they think of, history of the Trail of Tears and all that stuff, but talking with them, they're like, no, we're still an organized group of individuals that we we have history, but we're still like in society, and all this stuff, and that's kind of stuff you have to look at especially in my job, and I was like, oh yeah, you're doing this,
definitely.
But it's like, well, it's not just about the history. It's like, I'm a person now. Like, yes, there's history, but there's all this other stuff that we have to deal with on a daily basis, and we went through all that kind of stuff, and it's just interesting now, being a lot more wiser in kind of what I was a year ago to what I am now, and again, all the stuff that I've had to deal with and see, and also the people that I work with and all the stuff I've learned. It's like, oh wow, this is people think that this is history. Is like, no, there's people that are still here today, living, breathing. So
well, I mean, that's
it's a whole different ball game.
That's a very interesting point, because you do hear about the history, right? But then there's not a ton of exposure about kind of the trials and tribulations of the Native American peoples after that, right?
Yeah.
Like the modern history, right? I think everybody kind of has that, kind of washed over look of like, oh yeah, this happened in like the late 1800s, and that's the last anything anybody ever heard of it. Like,
we stop at we do. We stop at the Trail of Tears and we go, great, and then they found their land. Okay, and anyway, so what else happened?
And
like,
that's,
I think many residents of the Dakotas would have a different opinion.
Yeah,
but,
and that's something that I found. One of the coolest classes I took in college was a study of modern Native Americans. And it was mostly kind of the you would ask about the class, kind of about issues of modern day of Native Americans. Everyone, I heard the comments section screaming that everyone asked about the things that people Native American tribes deal with today. The one of the best examples that we had from the class was the one of the pipelines up in Canada, in the 1990s, that I was like, oh, this is still a thing that tribes are still having to deal with 20, 30 some odd years later.
Yeah, I think that's the only. Unfortunately, that seems to be the only time that their particular issues get brought up is whenever there's an oil pipeline involved. Because I'm just trying to think off the top of my head any other times I've heard about this. It always has to deal with oil pipelines, either through Canada or the North America, right? Like the Dakotas or other places.
Yeah,
it seems to be only about that. That's kind of the only time that they're get brought. And I think it's one of the things I think is I personally don't know where to get that information.
Yeah.
Right? Like I don't, even if I wanted to, which I do, obviously, because I'm always interested in these type of things. I don't know where to find it. So I think there's a big kind of vacuous hole there.
Yeah.
It's really difficult to find things like that.
Well,
at least for me, speaking of myself.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely vastly easier on my end, because if I have a question about something, I can literally email the the outreach programs,
sure,
and stuff. But a lot of stuff I literally just find in books that I purchase about modern issues, things like that I've just accumulated, and then I've have some tribal members that give me some literature. There's one group of people that I've talked with about it's like, hey, look, where can I go to learn more? And history books about things, they're super cool, but that doesn't really help me a lot. It talks about the culture and things like that, which are super cool and super helpful, but it's like modern issues that some of these people are trying to face.
That's true. And how does that culture translate to modern time?
Yeah.
Right? How is it still being practiced?
Yeah.
Right?
And
what does it look like now? Because I did read somewhere. I don't remember I don't remember the details about this vaguely, Something about a coming of age ceremony. A lot of the younger people in this particular tribe, which I apologize, I can't remember, are becoming more interested in that. Right? Like it's becoming more of a, oh yeah, hey, this is our thing. By the way, it's really cool. And so they're kind of taking more pride in that, which I think is very excellent and very cool. And sharing that with other people outside to see, hey, this is an important thing. Look at it. Look how cool it is. Right? I think that's an important thing to do. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, so one of the cool events that happens is there something that's called Native American Summers. What is it called?
Indian Summers.
And so that they are, it's kind of like a big, festival program that talks about, bringing in, and I mean that's just one example. There's several things that the Osage do outreach programs about. It's like, hey, taking all the youth of anyone that is affiliated or just wants to learn more. Like, hey, you're welcome to come to these things, and they kind of talk about like, oh, this is what this tradition is. This is what this kind of does, and there's I know there's a camp that the Osage Nation puts on, and I was invited by some of the workers, and then COVID happened, and it's like, cool. But again, they talked about like, it's a program, a camp that we bring young Native Americans to, or anyone that just wants to learn about stuff like that talks about if this is what traditionally we do in this certain things, and then it talks about the different clans and all of their practices and stuff like that. And so they have neat little programs and camps and stuff that they do. But actually, I've never had an opportunity to go.
Well, yeah.
But there's things here and there that they have. Again, it's kind of awkward, or people kind of look at you funny when they're the 6 foot white guy like me shows up. But it's something that's very again fascinating to me, and I'm always trying to reach out to a lot of the tribal workers and understand some of like the not the practices, because it is a little bit kind of impolite to kind of ask about traditions and religion and stuff like that, but just be able to understand like kind of things like that can definitely go a long way with someone, especially when the state shows up and starts asking questions, and they're like, oh, this person's actually being respectful at this. Like, oh, okay. And so it's little things like that can definitely go a long way, and plus it's unique and interesting to learn.
Well, I think that's the biggest part for me. That's always been, it's very unique and interesting, right? A lot of the stuff is just, like I said before, it's just really kind of cool from an outsider's perspective. Like it's just neat, and kind of just that window that you get to, oh, that's pretty cool. That's like a ancient thing, or that's like this tradition that's been handed down for so long. And again, I think it's good that at least from what I've been able to see, that within the last several years or so, more of that's coming out, because a lot of time, for a long time, it was repressed and like not allowed. Like you can't do this. So it was either done in secret, or they just didn't do it for a few years, but only the older generation remembered how to do it. And it's slow. A lot of that stuff is slowly kind of coming back out to the spotlight. Say, oh, hey, this is our thing. This is a thing that we do. And I just think it's cool. I think it's really neat. And I think, like I said, I think I like learning about it just because it's interesting, and it's just a new kind of different thing that I don't know about.
Yeah.
And, again, unfortunately, it's very marginalized, and you don't hear a lot about it. And some of the stuff can be difficult to find if you don't live right smack dab in the middle of the Osage Nation, like Aaron does.
Or have to interact with them, on such a daily basis kind of thing.
Yeah. So it's definitely something that I, was kind of not prepared for. Granted, being a history person, I was like, oh, I bet I know what, kind of what I'm getting into. It's like, oh, I was completely blindsided by all of this. So,
and again, that's the important part. Like, part of it, But what about the last like 50 years even? Like, that's kind of a black hole for me. Like, I don't know.
Likewise. Yeah.
That's cool though. So
yeah. It'd be very interesting to see how that pans out in cases moving forward. And
I think it's good.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting. So hopefully, good things come out of there. We'll see. Keep an eye on it again. So, Collin, what have you been up to?
Well, let's see here. How far are we into this recording? See if Dad's going to still be listening. Oh no, he won't.
No, he won't. He's asleep. No. He's asleep already.
Yeah. No, we so we were originally going to go to Dad's this weekend, and just relax and play around. But he hurt his knee and his shoulder, so we didn't want to go down. Right, we didn't want to bother him, mostly because the kids would need him to have him haul them up and down the driveway in the wagons, and
that's true.
So
maybe you could have hooked him to the Roomba.
Yes.
Yeah. It's got enough horsepower to pull a tractor, so
yeah. You made sure of it. Yeah, I know.
And then it could just follow it around little Noah, just picking up all that cereal,
grinding. So we decided we were going to go down anyway. So we rented a house just for a night in Springfield, and we drove down Friday, and we actually drove south to Garrison and swam in Swan Creek. There's a little ford there. It's past, so 125 comes down over Swan Creek, and if you go past it, quarter mile, hook a right, there's a little ford back there. We swam around in there, and the kids loved it. It was so much fun. The creek was
eat all the crayfish.
We found several crayfish. I found an Ozark Mad Tom that I caught with my hands.
Okay.
And we just played. The water was way down. It was barely shin high on me, which was great for the kids, right? Because they're little.
For reference, Collin is very tall, so like shin high on him is still like.
High on them.
For some people, that's kind of
okay, but right next to the crossing. And the reason I was comfortable at this crossing is because it was fully vented, so it's meant to be topped. It doesn't have culverts on it, and it's wide open, huge opening space beneath these, so the river can move as it wants to, and it's not being funneled through these little death traps.
Yes, indeed.
So right next to the bridge was 5 feet deep, but so it was really nice, really pretty, great weather, really loved it. Ate in town, went grocery shopping, got up the next morning, did a few more errands, and then came home on Saturday and actually stopped at Palm de Terre State Park and swam at the lake there. Yeah, I had never stopped there. I mean, I remember we took the sailboat out like twice at Palm de Terre.
We did?
Maybe
you did.
Maybe I did with Dad, but
maybe
we never really swam or did. I'd never been to that lake, and it's only an hour from our house.
Yeah,
so I was like, oh, well, this is pretty cool. And
this is where the boat conversation came from, Aaron. We found it. Found the genesis right here.
Yes. Well, so Megan and I were sitting there looking at boats as people were driving by, and Megan was like, "Hey, what kind of boat?" And I was like, "Oh, this boat, this Chris Craft from 1947 has been fully restored. Don't you love it?" And Megan stared at me and was like, "Where do you go to the bathroom?" And I was like, "Yeah, so that kind of boat is not going to be in our price range,
out of our price range
ever."
I don't know. You can get one of those little chemical toilets and a towel, and
I want you to just,
on any boat.
I want you to just think of Megan and see if it's not really going to work. Right? We're talking about full
it's all gone wrong.
If we were dealing with a portable chemical toilet and a towel, things have gone terribly wrong.
Sure, that's Collin dealing with that because she's thrown him out because he bought a 1947 Chris Craft.
Yes, I love those so much, and anyway, they're ridiculous.
I did not know that Potato Lake was that close to your house.
Yeah. It's only.
I never realized that.
Neither. honestly, neither did I until I was like, oh, that's really nice.
I feel better because I'm not a Missouri streams biologist, and I should. Who should know the locations of major bodies of water?
I only know about them whenever there's a problem and people yell about.
Again, Ponce Terre is it's not a very big lake, if I remember correctly.
It's not. It's
quite small as far
ones.
as like lakes in the Ozarks go. It's a small one.
Yeah, I mean it's bigger than Fellows. By quite
that
a
lake
bit.
is like a pond.
It is.
To be honest.
Well, that kind of reminds me of going up to Illinois every summer to Lake Petersburg.
Also a pond.
Yes. Yeah, when I was little, I was like, man, this is like an ocean in Illinois. That's crazy.
Yeah, right.
I remember going a few years ago back with Mimi. I was like, oh, that's it? Oh.
Yeah, I remember that too. When I was a kid, it was like, oh, this is a giant lake. And then when I went back in like high school, I was like, this is a lake?
Yeah. No,
like,
yeah, I remember them telling stories of like them driving across it in the winter and me being like, "There's no way, that's crazy."
Yeah, and Lake Petersburg is no Lake Michigan. I'll tell you that right now. It's very
not. Sand's the size. It's exactly like it. And
I when I was little, I thought it was like super huge, but it's literally like 200 yards across and some.
Yeah, it's really not. It's really bad. Yeah, so we did that. It was great. There was hardly anybody out. And we were only there for like an hour and a half or so, just because of the whole travel time thing.
Well, yeah.
And then the kids napped on the way back home, and we crashed hard Saturday night. Like it was, I slept for like 9.5 hours.
Good grief! What the heck?
Wow.
Well, because we were just.
Well, I know.
It was just a lot. But yeah, so that was a lot of fun. It was a fast trip. It was, like I said, it was less. We were gone from our house for 24 hours.
Yeah.
But it was good. It was a lot of fun. So we hope to do that again soon. Go back to Garrison or someplace similar. Go play in the creek.
Go to Craigslist. Look at boats.
Or Facebook Messenger or Facebook Marketplace.
Facebook Marketplace. That's true.
Yeah. No, that's where there's some really interesting ones on there.
No, that's what Season's been having a virtual garage sale this last week. She just put a bunch of stuff on there, and then she'll like randomly be like, "Hey, I'm going to Lowe's to drop this stuff off with this person." I'm like, "What? Okay, bye."
That is Megan's one of her favorite pastimes is getting stuff like either looking around to stuff that we haven't used in 6 months, or going and picking up a box where someone's like, "Hey, I've got 3 boxes for $5," and Megan will go buy it and then piece them out. $1 item here, $1 item there, and just we meet at the CVS here in town. That is the spot where everybody else meets.
We've been meeting people at the Lowe's or the Walmart parking lot. When I say we, I mean her.
Yes,
because I can't be bothered.
I know.
I am a true Funkhauser, and I don't sell anything.
Right, I know.
Right, it's not how this works. Like I bought it for a reason.
It's mine.
Right,
yes.
Like I do buy lots of things on a whim, but that's like little tiny stuff. Like,
sure,
junky this cup or like that thing over there, right? Like big purchases, like I agonize over whether or not I should buy them. Once I buy it, it's mine forever. Dragging it up, sit on it for life, smog style.
Okay, smog guys, howdy smog. But yeah, so it's really cool. And anyway, there's a lot of neat ones on there. Again, ones that have been fully restored, and just anyway, so that's been fun. But I think the other thing that was interesting this week that doesn't have to do with anything that we've ever done was a science article that I read, a research article, not in Science, it's from another publication, but where researchers, I'm going to say this statement and I want to see what the impact was. They hybridized a Russian sturgeon with an American paddlefish.
Oh, that's the picture I saw, and I was so confused.
Why did they do that? And what on earth does that monstrosity look like?
It's really cute.
How big is it?
It's
now.
Well, I think they only matured it to 30 days, and then they stopped.
They euthanize it.
Yeah. Oh,
I say.
No. Oh, no. At the age of 1 year. Yeah. Under intense rearing conditions. Yeah. So they actually did rear them out longer than that.
How big can that thing get?
I know. But imagine a paddlefish with kind of like a little bit more bumpy armor on it. And then imagine a sturgeon with a little more smooth, kind of slimy looking thing going on. But what's crazy about this?
What does the nose look like? That's the thing that's breaking my head right now.
The nose is weird. I'll send you an article about this, but the nose is weird. But what is really weird is that this isn't just a species difference here, hybridization.
No, that's a different fish type difference.
Families.
That's a different family, right? Because that's not.
And to add to this, the paddlefish is a known triploid.
Oh. What does that mean? Interesting. Sorry. I messed that up. The sturgeon is a known tetraploid. The paddlefish is a diploid. The hybrid is a functional triploid. Yeah. What?
Yeah. Right. That's where things get weird because triploids usually don't survive in the wild. Triploids are so what this is saying is diploid means 2 copies of the genetic material. That's standard. Yes. Humans are diploid. We have 2 copies of our genetic material in every cell. But animals, different species will just by nature have different copies. So the Russian sturgeon actually has 4 copies. So they're tetraploid. And triploid means they have 3 copies, and that causes a lot of problems during mitosis and meiosis, when things are breaking down and gametes are being shuffled around. And actually, a lot of fish that are tetraploid don't survive very long or cannot reproduce themselves. So Asian carp they've genetically bred those to be tetraploid so that they cannot naturally reproduce and become super invasive in wild populations. And so tetraploids typically don't do very well. But these are fine tetraploids. Bizarre craziness. This whole thing has thrown the fish science world into a huge dizzy because everyone's like you said, but why? Why would you do that? Why would you think to do that? And the only reason I can think of, the literal only reason, is for caviar purposes. The only reason that I can think of is to facilitate some sort of weird, sick, demented need for more or better caviar.
Well, I know that's a problem with the Russian sturgeon because there's certain species of Russian sturgeon that are possibly extinct. Right, or critically endangered because of overfishing is just so rampant for caviar. That's the only thing they want is the caviar, and I can't because there's several species of sturgeon in Russia. I can't remember which one exactly. The big beluga one, the big beluga sturgeon. That's the biggest one. I believe.
Yes,
that's the big boy. Like we're talking,
not doing well.
No, but that's a bit. We're talking like 18 feet of sturgeon, right? Like monstrous, ridiculous, stupid big. That might be a bit of an exaggeration, but that could be if for some reason. Oh, but paddlefish don't mature faster, right?
No, they are both. These are both a long-lived,
very slow
maturation kind of thing. So I don't know the real reason behind this, and the research was done by people here in the U.S., or at least part of it was. I mean, it was in collaboration with people over in Hungary and people here in looks like Kentucky. There's some few people from there. So it's
interesting,
very bizarre. I don't understand why on earth. And in the research article, it doesn't tell you why. They just say, hey, look what we did. Isn't that cool? And you're like, but why would you want to do that?
Yeah, this specimen here, the largest accepted record for a beluga sturgeon, is a female from 1827 in the Volga estuary. 3,400 pounds, 23 feet 7 inches long.
Yeah, it's a big one.
What?
That's insane.
What?
That's insane.
For any international listeners out there, 1,000, about 1,500 kilograms, 7.2 meters.
Jeez.
It's ridiculous. Holy cow. What?
Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah. So again, I don't understand why they would do this. They've done it, and many people are now like, what? And trying to figure out, and obviously questioning a lot of the science to see exactly what happened. But anyway, that was pretty interesting.
That's a weird looking
so that's been
fish, man.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Oh, did you get that picture?
Which one's which?
So the sturgeon is on top.
Is A.
For A.
We're going to have to put this on Instagram for the people. That's what we have to do.
This will
along
be
with Aaron's adorable coffee cup.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll put this out. So A is the sturgeon, B is the paddlefish, and then it shows this progression. And I think
D is the paddlefish.
D is the paddlefish.
Okay.
I think, and then so they had these two different lineages that came from them, B and C.
Yeah.
I think that the top one was the triploid, and C. So B was a triploid, and C was another diploid. So triploid, diploid variations of those. Yeah. Again, so they actually had two different levels of two different ploidy levels.
I mean,
that came out
that's
of these.
weird. I understand the different why they look different, but the ploidy levels is ridiculous.
Yeah.
The face is where it's definitely the most prominent. Well, the ridge too.
Yes. Right. So you can see there's a heavy influence of
one or the other. Yeah. On the top one. On B.
Right. But even C is a heavily modified body form compared to
that's true.
Compared to the paddlefish. Like the sturgeon is expressing these very characteristic traits throughout the entire thing. The only real difference is the skin type on C, but also the cute little nose.
I would be most interested in seeing a picture from the bottom of where in the world its mouth is.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't tell by that.
Yeah, you can't tell by that because sturgeon are bottom feeding fish and they have a mouth that is on the bottom of their body. Think like suckerfish, but monstrous, right?
Yep. Yeah.
But the paddlefish is a filter feeding fish that has a giant gaping mouth.
Yeah.
It's enormous. So, yeah, I want to see what its mouth looks like.
Yeah. It's very interesting.
That's so weird. Why? Yeah, why? Are you
they don't provide very many of them. They just provide those side ones. But
dubious science. We need more pictures.
I know.
Doing.
So I thought that was
that's pretty messed up. Like, why did you do that?
I know but why? That's cool and all, but
why?
But why?
What were you hoping to accomplish here?
What did she want?
Why did you create this monster fish?
Yeah. Anyway,
that's wild.
I thought it was really cool, and it's been again lots of discussion about that going on in the world and of fisheries.
Yeah.
You don't see too many of those kind of research projects.
No, I mean, rightly so. Like, I don't really think that's like some weird, like, sci-fi stuff. Hey, we're just gonna put these two species together and see what happens. Like, wait,
right? Yeah, no, it doesn't make any sense. But
and then the rest of the novel is something terrible happening. You're like, oh no,
taking over the world.
Yeah, that's so weird. Oh my gosh. Man, yeah, I'm thrown off by this.
I know.
I have so many questions.
I know. So literally just everybody else. Like it's not just you. Oh man.
Goodness.
So yeah, that's what we did.
All right.
That's what we've done.
Well. Yowza. Okay.
Yep, pretty much.
Mutant fish. Got it. Because I don't even see how that would help with like some kind of... Because both of those fish are pretty endangered. Right? Because a paddlefish, the North American paddlefish, also endangered. Yes? Still? Or
yes.
Okay.
So paddlefish is. I don't think it's throughout its entire range. But yes, I mean here in Missouri, it's not. Well, no, it's threatened in some areas. It's not endangered because you can't because there is paddlefish harvest at least here in Missouri.
But they're very, 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 very limited. Yeah. So, but again, not necessarily for species conservation because both like stupid, long-lived, slow maturing fish, not saving genetic material, like crossbreeding with a completely different family of fish.
But what it does is it provides a third option, third or fourth option, right? That now,
I guess if you like, I guess if you think about it, is storing the genetic material in a separate bank, right? Like a third party bank, right? Kind of. You think about it that way.
Well, I would be more thinking of it as this isn't from a aquaculture reason. This is now a non-native, non-real species. Like it's something completely new. So the regulations around keeping it and harvesting it and using it in aquaculture are zero, right? So if the Russian sturgeon is extremely endangered, but the paddlefish is extremely endangered, this is not. Because
I guess right? True. And then you can from a scientific point of view,
you just do it.
It's not a real species, so you can do whatever you want with it.
Do what you want with it.
Begs the question: there needs to be some regulation there immediately, because that's not good.
I will say that even whenever I was doing research on endangered snails, once they were bred in captivity, they were no longer the rules no longer applied to them. That's what was weird. Is in the wild first gen, second gen, whatever post, from the parental generation that you brought in and collected from the wild, those were protected. Once you brought and were maintaining a laboratory population, you didn't have to write reports about them. You didn't have to do that kind of stuff. It was very weird. It was
very odd.
Now, granted, that's invertebrates. Those are snails. These are fish, a little different, but I mean, I would not be surprised if there were similar loopholes with them.
I mean, biologically speaking, from like not really, I guess, right? Because you're still bringing them in from an outside environment. You're taking the protected species out of its environment to do something with it, right?
Sure, and the reports and the regulations are going to look at the parental generation and go, how are those being treated? Were they released back properly?
Yeah, because those are the ones that matter in the wild, right? Yes. Because if you think about it, you don't want to decrease the wild population. So if you bring them in, you need to care for them and then release them. But any offspring they have are not part of the wild generation anymore.
Nope.
Technically.
And actually, if you are going to be releasing, let's say you brought in Russian sturgeon, bred them, before you release them to be done properly, you would want to make sure that they had the proper genetic depth and variation with them before you dumped them back in the river.
Yeah.
That you did effective genetic analysis to see what kind of variation they had, so you weren't creating an artificial bottleneck of genetics by breeding just from a very select few or same individuals and just pumping those in.
Yeah, and really, narrowing down the population, and that would be bad,
right? Yeah, which is what people who do fish stocking have to be concerned about, right? If you're trying to bring up populations, like that's a huge area of study.
You get all the fish in the lake that are related to each other. Like, oh no,
no bueno.
Right. No genetic variation. Bad.
Yeah. So there's even regulations around that. And now you have a completely new species. And I'm sure that the only thing that they are doing is like, please, whatever you do, don't release this and please kill it immediately. Right. So they're like, great, we will gladly keep these and monitor their roe production.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that's definitely, that's definitely a do not release. But again, a lot, like, I don't know. If we're just talking about the economics of the caviar market, right? It's still, no matter if, let's just pretend it becomes a farm generated source of caviar. it will still be economically viable to illegally harvest sturgeon from the river, because that's what happens now, right? There's like it's not necessarily the legitimate market. There's like a giant black market for this stuff for some reason.
Sure.
These are things that I don't understand.
Right,
like
but
why
if you could,
it matters.
because it's not tasty, right? Nobody likes it, but yeah, there will always be that.
It's like the flex, right? Like, I bought this expensive thing.
Exactly. They'll be able. There's the flex, and then there's the rarity of the beluga sturgeon of being able to say this is the caviar from that. But if you are not having to supply the world demand for caviar on the back of endangered species, and you have this supplemental product being pumped into the market, that's going to offset that balance a little. That's going to start balance. That's going to start offsetting that balance, right? You flood it with a more readily available, cheaper option. You are gonna satiate a portion of that market who maybe might not care that where exactly it came from. They just want caviar, and as long as it's decent, they're gonna go. For it.
By that argument, you can already get other caviar just fine, right? It's not like caviar from other fishes or other sturgeon with stable populations is not a problem.
Sure.
Right. It's so if you're just concerned about having any old caviar, well, then those people already don't care and they're eating whatever.
Sure.
It's that I think you're underestimating the amount of people there are that want that stuff. Right. This is why we have no elephants.
Sure.
This is why we have no rhinos. This is why the northern white rhino is functionally extinct.
Right.
Right. There's like 3 females. Whoops. Right. And it's not even a global market. It's one singular market. And within that market,
don't say it.
Within that unspecified market,
that is definitely to the west of Russia.
Yeah. and south.
South. Right?
Within that one market, it's even then a extremely small percentage of the population that wants that.
Mm-hmm.
But that group of people is driving those animals to extinction because they want the horn.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's not even from what I understand and have read, it's not it's not like millions of people from this unspecified Asian country.
Oh geez.
I mean, Russia is in Asia. Okay, let's just be real. It is.
Sure.
So you already outed it. It's fine.
Sure. I didn't say it. I didn't say anything. You're the one that's making a big deal about this. Anyway,
I'm not either. Fine.
Well, all I'm saying. It's not that the fact. It's the fact that the supply is so limited. No matter what the demand is, the supply is
true too.
Limited, right. So I would say that anything. Again, I am not advocating for this work to be done. Like people should stop eating caviar because it's gross and disgusting. Like let's just put that out there. Like I'm not.
Yes, that's true. But
I'm not arguing. I'm not arguing from like pro caviar. No one's. I'm not in big caviar's pockets here. No one's paying for these statements. What I am saying is that.
Can we just be real? Nobody wants to eat. Who wants to eat fish eggs?
Yeah.
If you've looked at them before, it's the grossest looking thing.
Yes.
It's disgusting.
I don't get it. So if your goal is to grow a market, but the supply is inherently limited by endangered species, and you're looking for growth, what do you have to like? You have to find new avenues of growth, just from a market standpoint.
I don't believe that the people procuring these ingredients are the least bit concerned about the longevity of their occupation. Right? This is a get my money now.
Well, yeah,
and I don't really have to worry about it. Right?
Right. It's
if I can make a ton of money in 2 years, I'm good to go. Right? Or you just shift your focus to something else people want.
I know, right? They're just knitting threads until the last chop. Is what they're doing.
This is what's happening. Yes.
Right? Yeah. But I'm saying if there are other actors who, again, who knows the motivations behind this? This is pure speculation. We've got, but you could see how somebody would go, looking down the road, if I want to continue to be a millionaire or billionaire in this industry, let's work on something. Let's do some research. Let's get this taken care of.
That's fair. But I will say, how many times have you read this exact story? Okay. Fish farm floods, entire stock released into local river system. Boom. Yeah. Every single time.
Yeah.
Right. So this is not, I don't know. We're only projecting that this is the motivation. But if that's the case, it happens every time. Because they always build these dumb things in the Mississippi River floodplain. And like, oh, nothing bad could happen here in the floodplain of a river.
Anytime.
Or in like a hurricane zone.
Right. Anytime these markets have been tried to take place. And it's not just fish. I mean, that's why
in Florida.
That's why Louisiana has nutria, right? That's why they have them. That's why they're there, because they were like, you know what? These beavers are going down. This nutria pellet ain't too bad. Let's bring them in. And then they got out / were released because the market crashed and nobody wanted them anymore because they were on the back end of that bell curve. Mm-hmm. But anyway,
that's why we have those crazy carp basically in Lake Michigan, right?
Yeah, because they were brought over.
They were
delicacy.
They started in Louisiana, Mississippi, on a farm. And the farm flooded, and they got into the Mississippi River.
Right.
Now they're in the Illinois River.
Once again, Big Caviar is not paying for any of these statements, and that's why I don't think this is a good idea, and nobody should be trying to harvest these or manufacture these in big aquaculture systems. It should not be done. And anyone who thinks that it's a good idea needs to go get some help.
That's what I think, there's something intrinsically wrong with creating an entirely new species specifically for profiting off of it.
To then exploit exclusively, right? That's
right. That becomes its sole function, exploitation.
Yeah. Right.
What the heck? What in the world is wrong with you?
Yeah. It doesn't make right. It blows my mind. And again, we have no idea the purpose behind this, but I am really plumbing the depths here to come up with a logical reason. But when I see paddlefish and I hear sturgeon, I immediately think caviar. That's the first thing that comes to mind with both of those species.
Is paddlefish caviar a thing?
Yeah, it is. You can eat it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you can harvest it.
Well, I mean, you can eat all fish. You can eat salmon eggs. Mostly they're sold as fish bait.
Yeah.
But that's what you're eating, by the way. Think about that. If you are like, oh man, I wonder what caviar tastes like, go to Bass Pro. Again, # not sponsored. Just buy some fish egg bait. Actually, don't do that. Don't eat that because I don't know what else they put in there. But it's the same thing, really.
I was going to say, please don't.
Don't actually do that. That sounds terrible. Not advocating eating fish bait. But it's the same. It's fish eggs. That's all it is. Blech.
Oh, yeah.
You could go look at it. If you're curious what it looks like, go to the sporting goods section. Wear your mask. Go to the sporting goods section. Look at it, and you'll go, ew, that looks nasty.
Oh. So yeah, you can get a 3.5 ounce jar of paddlefish caviar for $24. Versus
again, 3.5 ounces of fish eggs is a lot of fish eggs.
Versus ready for this?
No.
Farm,
no, I'm not.
You can get this is for a 1/2 ounce jar of Siberian caviar for $41.
That's even vague. It doesn't even tell you what fish species that is.
Siberian sturgeon. I found it.
Still,
Siberian
again, sturgeon. I don't believe there is a species of Siberian sturgeon.
Yeah. Especially because it comes from Italy. It's a product of Italy.
I mean, yeah.
Anyway.
No, yes. I don't know. I don't know if the river's that long. It goes all the way Adriatic, but yeah, that's even vague. You're just assuming. You're just banking off the Russian caviar thing.
Oh yeah,
right. That's what you're doing there.
Yeah,
because that's for even the people that don't know, like all the like people that want to be like bougie, right? Like, oh yes, it's Russian caviar. Because that's a good thing. Because I saw it in a movie one time. It was in a James Bond movie or something like that. Like that's what.
Right. No. That's the only time you see it.
Yeah, that's what. I think you only ever see villains eating it too. By the way, think about that. Okay, spreading it on their little toast with their gross, like looking like Boromir's dad eating that stuff. Like he eats a tomato.
The most disgusting, the worst part of that entire trilogy was the stupid freaking tomato. Why? I can't.
Who eats tomatoes that way?
Oh my gosh! It hurts. It's so bad.
It's supposed to symbolize him. It's supposed to symbolize the blood of him throwing it away. That's why he's eating it. So like, bah.
I can't.
I think
angry.
Denethor. Yeah, that's like like you see him be super mean to Faramir and do all these like really terrible things, but then you see him eat the tomato and you're like, I hate that guy.
Yeah, you're like, that's it. He's a jerk. I don't like him at all.
Like he's mean to Pippin, right? And you're like, oh man, that's not cool. He's like, sends Faramir to die. Like, oh, that's not cool. You realize that he loves Boromir more. Like, man, this guy's really bad. And then he eats a tomato. And you're like, oh, he's an animal. He's a wretched beast. What kind of monster? What kind of monster is this man?
It's really bad. Oh, gosh. Oh. I'm including a video of that.
You're gonna put that GIF on there?
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. It's so bad.
That'll go on Instagram too with this episode. Just a GIF of him.
So many over and over and over. Anyway, but yes, back to. I'm so distracted right now.
You're welcome.
I can't even think. It's just why. That's okay.
Okay, Colin's not gonna have nightmares.
I am. No, oh, it's just freaking. Anyway.
Yes, anyway.
Row. Yeah. So anyway, market for that is substantial, but who knows?
Yeah, that's really, again, I don't know what the market is for that. I mean, I imagine the market's quite high if the species they provided are being driven to extinction. There's at least a substantial market. And again, a lot of it's driven by there is a market, so illegal harvesting kind of ramps up,
is real,
and accelerates these things because of the market and what people are willing to pay for fish eggs. No nutritional value, just gross only.
Just pure delectable vomit.
Oh man, yeah, I don't know. If you want to eat something salty, there's literally 12 billion other things that you could have.
Including salt.
Including just salt. That's true.
If you really hate yourself that much,
you have an unlimited supply of that, right? We just get that straight from the ocean and just boom, here you go.
Go eat salt.
Lick it like a salt lick for like a cow. Just like
my God.
There you go.
So that's been my week.
Exciting. Oh man.
So we need to come up with a challenge. Brandon, you had an idea.
I put mine out. I don't know what you guys think about that one, but
will you restate that for?
So I was thinking, in the spirit of continuing to explore things that we know nothing about, I thought, hey, we should watch a Bollywood movie and report back on our thoughts. Because I personally have absolutely no idea what one of those entails at all. And I know that on Amazon, again, not sponsored. Jeff, what's up? Hashtag not sponsored.
Yeah, so I have a side note on that in just a minute. Continue.
Okay. But I was thinking, since they keep putting these out on there, I want to try to watch one, and I just want to see what it's all about. Like, I want to know. So I was thinking that we pick one. It doesn't have to be this. It should probably be different ones. We might have to like communicate a little bit better this time. Of, hey, I'm watching this one. Don't watch that one.
Yeah,
sure.
Because I think the selection is slightly more limited than the random button on Crunchyroll, which has like a bazillion different.
Not shocking to anybody.
Yeah, I think there's not a whole lot on Amazon, but there are some on Prime. There's only like 7, maybe, but like,
okay.
I think we should watch one of those and report back on our thoughts and findings of our experience with watching a Bollywood movie for the first time.
I'm all for this.
Aaron, what do you think?
I'm definitely down for it.
Sweet. Okay, here it is. There we go.
Okay, so challenge.
Just text your whichever one you're going to watch, so that we don't accidentally watch the same one. That would be weird. But yes,
that'd be
go to Bollywood challenge. I like it.
Okay, challenge. Go to Bollywood. Gotcha. Very excited about this. Very excited
because I like watching movies from other countries because you get like different perspectives and they showcase interesting things. But I've never seen a Bollywood movie ever.
Same.
So I want to know. I'm curious. I just want to see what's up.
Me too.
All right. There we go. So we'll do that
for
next time.
Challenge. I like it.
Next
Sweet. Time. Challenge accepted.
Sweet.
Boom, go.
My side note.
Yeah,
did you guys hear? Did you guys hear what happened to Jeff Bezos? What do Apple, Jeff Bezos, Joe Biden, Elon Musk, and Bill Gates all have in common?
They've been hacked on Twitter.
Yes.
Oh.
All of their verified Twitter accounts were hacked, and it read something like
not just them either, right? Other ones.
No, there's
right?
lots. They were only verified accounts, but those were the highest profile ones, and all of them said, "Wanting to give back to my community. Go if any dollar you give me to my Bitcoin account, I will give double back to you," or something like that. To back. So, and Jeff Bezos was like, Jeff Bezos was like only giving up to $50 million. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so far, before they got it shut down, the account that was the same for like Bill Gates and I forget who else was on that same one, but somewhere it had racked up close to like $60,000 in Bitcoin, which is quite a lot of Bitcoin.
Ooh,
a lot of Bitcoin.
Ooh. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh,
yes.
Oh no.
Right. So
gotta love untraceable online currency.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Maybe there's they're trying to figure out exactly how this happened because they didn't wrest control of the accounts and none of the like 2-factor stuff occurred. So what they're thinking is that they didn't hack the individual accounts.
They hacked Twitter.
They think they hacked Twitter.
Snap, crackle, pop. Holy cow.
Yep, and that Twitter's back end ain't so good as it was. So remember, just imagine. Let's think of this world where instead of being stupid and asking for money, they got in and they hacked Joe Biden's account and they said, "I'm officially resigning from the race." Or they started tweeting out inflammatory stuff from all of these people, or using them to disseminate terrible things.
Yeah,
right?
Holy cow. Twitter, what the heck, man?
That kind of thing is really, really scary.
Yeah.
To think that they were able that back door was wide open. And so going into this election here in the US, like that level of crap is going to be ramped up on steroids.
Oh,
and they went for, now just imagine, you that was just the verified accounts, but millions of other users are out there who get hacked and have no idea.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden your account just starts shadow tweeting stuff and flooding information and all this kind of stuff. So it's very real, right? That's really scary. It's really
scary. Nuts. Yeah, because that was just today. Yes,
Today. Yep, it was today.
Because I saw a thing about it, but I didn't read that much about it. I didn't know that. Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty scary. You're just going to straight up hack into the net service. Yeah, they better get that plugged in a hurry. Shut her down for today, boys. No more.
Well, and that's what they did. That was sort of the response of they basically, Twitter has weird controls, like, again, things that don't make sense, but they came in and they said if you have a verified account, they flipped a switch that prevented you from tweeting at all today.
Whoa, what?
Oh, that's what that was.
Yes. So no verified.
Aaron's like, that's why I couldn't tweet today. Man, it's great.
My blue check mark. So fancy.
Well, because like that's one thing that I do, about sporadically throughout the day is, get on Twitter just to see like what's happening in the world that I'm missing since I'm in, Oklahoma. And the thing is, it popped up like the first thing on social media trending is blue check marks, and I was like, that doesn't apply to me because I'm not popular enough as a blue check mark. And then that just like, oh, that's what that is. Okay, gotcha.
So yeah, if they basically flipped a switch, and if you had a verified account, you could not tweet until they sorted it all out to see who had or hadn't been hacked. But they basically banned like over 350,000 accounts from tweeting today. Because that's how many they have that are verified, apparently.
Yeah. I'm imagining one of those like Mission Impossible scenes where somebody actually was like in the server room, like they rappelled down through the ceiling.
Well, I think
or just like in one of those giant glass tower server things, just like.
Mm-hmm. I think the going theory right now is because they had some screenshots going around of a Twitter control panel on somebody's laptop where the really high level accounts had their own like special bespoke portion of Twitter backend servers that were controlled, and that Twitter could go in and like, so if Biden said, "Oh, I need this done," Twitter would take care of that for him. And so they weren't just like Joe Schmo, and so they really think that it wasn't just all. That's right. They're still trying to tease out exactly how all this was structured, but there's this thought that Twitter actually had an own, not necessarily like a concierge service, but kind of like a concierge service for the big verified accounts that was compromised, which is again stupid because they put all their eggs in one basket, and we're like, of course we'll lock all the high profile things behind this key, and nobody will care.
Yeah, that's a good net security, because that doesn't even work in actual buildings. Like, you just put one lock on the door, and no one literally will ever break it.
And nobody go behind and look into my magical mystery window. Closet of mysteries.
Yeah. The door wasn't broken into, but this window is smashed to pieces. Like, that's what.
Who knew?
Yeah,
we put all of the really expensive, crazy stuff behind this poorly locked door. Someone wouldn't try and get in. What?
Weird.
So
that's wild.
Be ready for that kind of stuff.
All right. Well,
fun.
Here we go.
Anyway, so next week is we're going to Bollywood. I'm very excited about this.
To Bollywood,
and we will coordinate.
I am too. Really, I don't know.
Of course, what this is going to make me want is some Indian food, which I do not have access to, and I'm going to be very sad.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Going to be very sad. So
we can talk about that too. We can talk about our favorite Indian food next week as well.
I think we need to reconvene in Springfield and go to an Indian restaurant,
possibly,
and then watch these at Dad's.
Yes, because Dad's internet is stable enough to stream Bollywood.
You can download them and go. I think you can do that with Prime. So see, that's what we're gonna do. We'll have a Bollywood night at Dad's. See you guys next week.
I don't know. It's a bit far from me right now.
Oh my god! What the crap?
It's definitely far from Aaron. Aaron's got. Hey, you got to think about Aaron. You can't make it.
Fine. Whatever, Aaron. Whatever.
Sorry.
Okay. Well. Until then, love you guys.
All right, love you too.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye.